you don't have to operate like one, like you don't have to operate like a machine, because you're not a machine. You're a person. And hello, welcome to a very dim video. I forgot to charge the lights. So I've always wanted to film a video podcast. So let's try doing that with a baby on my arm. How are you guys? How's life so far? So I'm aware that most of you are fellow moms. So how's mothering? For me, as a new mom of two, my plate for the past months has been very full. I'm a work from home mama, so I'm trying to juggle, the new responsibility of an added member to our family on top of my existing responsibilities to my firstborn, of course, as a wife and as a work from home mom, as an online teacher, and trying to do manage a home based business as well. So yeah, the past months has been um, um, a transitional period of trying to figure out how to make everything work, to find the rhythm that's right for our family, that makes sense for what I need to do and to be. So yes, that has been the past 3 months of my life, just figuring things out. My baby's almost 4 months old, so she's 3.5 months old right now. So I'm sorry if I'm swaying from time to time. I don't hope that doesn't distract you, but yeah, that keeps the baby calm and happy. So yeah, I just wanted to have a quick catch up. I'll try to do what I can to just keep this channel running. Well, it's been on a pause for a while now. That producing content on this channel has taken back seat because of everything that's going on in my personal life. But I'm happy to just try to make it work still. This is the best that I can do right now, and I hope that even though the setup is not the most ideal, what I share here could still be a blessing to you. So yeah, so for the catch up, maybe I'll start with what I've been reading. I think some of you um, are also into reading books, especially um, practical Christian living books. So the first one is a reread. So I've read this before, maybe back in 2019 when I was still working as an early years school counselor. So the new strong-willed child. So I'm glad to be reading it again. So I'm already one third of the book. I've already read one third of the book. So far it's a good refresher. Talking about the strong-willed child. So the book talks about how children have different levels. They have different strengths of the will, and there are children who are naturally compliant, but there are also children who needs to um, be tamed. Happy to be reading it again, especially now that um, I'm really deep in teaching and disciplining my firstborn. And secondly, I've been reading Forgiving What You Can't Forget. So the first book is written by Dr. James Dobson, and the second book is Forgiving What You Can't Forget. So it's by Lysa Turker. So the subtitle says Discover How to Move On, Make Peace with Painful Memories, and Create a Life That's Beautiful Again. So let me feed the baby first. I'm done feeding the baby. Maybe I'll share with you more about the books that I've been reading when I'm done reading them. So for the Forgiving What You Can Forget, I'm still in the earlier chapters, and as I've told you, for the strong-willed child, I've read one third of it. So maybe I'll get back to discussing about those books when I'm done reading them. So, yep, I've been exclusively breastfeeding again for the second time. And as a breastfeeding mama, my time really is dictated by the needs of my nursing baby. So, I've breastfed my firstborn for almost 3 years. So, I think I've even nursed him until I was 3 months pregnant. August, September, October, November. Yeah, around that time. So I breastfed him until I was 3 months pregnant with my second baby. So yeah, I think I'll be breastfeeding again for the next 3 years of my life. But I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful for the milk. Breastfeeding has not always come to me so naturally. It's been a struggle, especially the first weeks. Uh, yeah, but I'm thankful. We're past that stage of learning how to latch, learning how to position, because breastfeeding is a skill that you learn as a mom, but not only you, but you're also teaching your child, your baby, to do it. So it's a skill. Although breastfeeding is one of the most natural things in the world, it did not come to me naturally. But yeah, we're past that stage. I'm thankful for my healthy baby who's nursed by my healthy milk. Praise God. Um, I really prayed for it. I really wanted to breastfeed my second born, as long as I did with my first one. And if, I'll be blessed with more time, I'll be willing to do so. And yeah, that comes at a cost. That comes at a cost, the cost of my space, the cost of my energy, the cost of my time. That's why, yeah, there are many things that I would want to do, but yeah, it still depends on the needs of my baby. So I'm so glad to be able to do this while she's asleep for maybe the next hour. And then I'll have to nurse her again. If you're a breastfeeding mama, please comment down below. How are you with your breastfeeding journey? So, yeah, for me, I'm tired, but so far, so good. Tired, but good. Okay. So, moving on, I've been thinking about sharing what I've been learning as a mother for the second time around. And, there's so much weariness, exhaustion, fatigue, and even loneliness, that comes in waves as we go through our days as moms. I believe I'm not only speaking for myself, but hearing from my fellow moms. They've also gone through these waves and we're also going through these waves. I feel like we need to be reminded as mothers of the grace of Jesus that's available in our weary days. Sometimes, when we talk about grace, well, at least for me, sometimes it's this, big theological concept that's up there that I can grasp down to my everyday reality. But the grace of God um, changes everything, even our ordinary lives. It's not. It doesn't stop. His grace doesn't run out on us. It doesn't it's not just about the big things. Well, everything feels big right now, right? When you're a mother, like even the small things, the small details of everyday life feels big. They could feel overwhelming. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, so let me give you a context of where I'm trying to drive this thought home drive this thought towards. So, as someone who's been deeply wired, to value productivity, I've had this long time struggle of overestimating my strength, um, in the sense that I wouldn't stop until I wouldn't stop, trying to accomplish things until I hit red, the red zone, until I drain myself out. So you know how phones, right, our phone batteries, when they're fully charged, they're green, but they turn orange as the energy is being used up, and they turn red right before they shut down. I feel like humans are very much like that. And I've realized this now that, oh, I'm not invincible. Oh, my strength pala. Sige, mag-mix na tayo. Ang hirap mag-English no straight. Mga Tagalog naman siguro ang kadalasan nanonood, ano. Ang hirap, hindi pala ako superwoman. We had this notion that to be a successful mother or just to be successful in general, you have to burn yourself out. That if you're not successful, if you're not burning yourself out if you're not deep in productivity and truth be told, it could be really toxic because God doesn't no God even doesn't ask that from us for the most part. So yeah, so I've had this long time struggle of doing one more thing, one more task, one more chore, just anything before I take a break. And I think this is a common struggle for moms, especially mothers of multiple children. I don't know how you do this, but from people, from fellow moms that I've talked to, I think um, that's that's the reality. That's the struggle that we face every single day because so many things depend on us as mothers, like our children depend on us, right? So it's so hard to take a break and not feel guilty about it when we do so, just because of the irrational fear that the world will stop spinning around if we take a break. So I've been learning to pursue healthy rhythms of rest and work instead of waiting for me to hit the red zone and just shut down. Because honestly, recovering from shutting down takes a longer time than just keeping a healthy rhythm of rest and work. Sometimes we think, di ba, na saka na ako magpahinga pag may time na. But honestly, when you shut down from the overwhelm, the fatigue, it takes longer time of recovery. And in the end, in the long term, you're actually losing more time if we're going to think about it in terms of saving time. So in the long run, mas madami ka pang nasasayang na oras dahil nga matagal ang recovery time mo compared to just having a healthy rhythm of rest and work. So yeah, that's something that I'm still learning, how to navigate, especially now that I have two children. I'm working, I have a home-based business, and I'm still trying to create content, but at the same time, just nurturing my inner life on top of all these things. So that's something that I'm learning. Na my rest should not be dictated by my schedules or it's been an ongoing joke among moms na gusto mo mag-breakdown, gusto mo magpahinga pero wala kang time kasi hindi na maisingit sa schedule. And that's really a sad reality for most of us. But I hope that this could remind us, rooted in grace, God's grace for us. Na He doesn't ask us to be the Messiah of everyone, of everything, but He asks us to abide in His grace. And one of the gifts of that is to have rest in Him, the gift of rest. So yeah, so I'm learning to simply take a break just because my body needs it, just because I need it, not because my schedule says so or because my checklist is clear, but simply because I need it. And no, that doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be, an out of town vacation or even a whole day away, because let's face it, we don't, most of us don't even have that luxury. We don't even have, the luxury of house help, diba? So yeah, it's not just not practical, but it could be as simple as just sleeping when your body says it's time. So I'm still filming this because my body is okay pa. Okay pa daw, hindi pa that time. But yeah, just it could just be, taking a breather, asking help from trusted people. I feel like many of us struggle with this. Yeah, just from the people that I talk to, from this, just the fellow moms that I know now, it's hard for us to ask help because as mothers, I feel like it's so natural for us to micromanage. Na if we ask help from someone, maybe it wouldn't be done the way that we want it to be done. I know my mom struggled with this when we were children, maybe even until now. But yes, so it could be as simple as asking help from trusted people. I even know sometimes I even have struggle asking help from my husband kahit sa mga simpleng bagay lang, nappy change, bathing the children. But yeah, I'm learning now. Why do I have this guilt feeling of asking help when he's actually very much willing to do those things naman, and he actually does those things even without being prompted. But it's just my internal conflict. It's just me. Na parang feeling ko I have to do it all because I'm the mom. But yeah, that's something that I'm learning to unlearn. I'm learning to unlearn. So it could just be as simple as, a moment of reminding ourselves that, hey, you're not a machine, you're a human being. God made you human, not a machine, and you don't have to operate like one. Like, you don't have to operate like a machine because you're not a machine. You're a person, and people, human beings need rest. We need nurturing. We need a time to take a step back, to just reflect, process things, and yeah, that's my struggle. I overestimate what I can do. I overestimate my physical strength, my mental strength, just because I feel like everything's on me. But yeah, by the grace of God, we can lean on His grace. Now, everything is not dependent on us. There's someone who is in control, and that someone is not me, but God, who is sovereign, who has authority over everything, who is trustworthy, dependable, and I can lean on His strength, His grace. And, sa mga bagay na hindi ko naman abot at hindi ko naman talaga responsibilidad, ipa sa Diyos mo na lang. Ganun lang remind ko sa sarili ko. And I feel like that's a reminder that's very much needed for my fellow weary mamas. If you're struggling with the same mindset problem, mindset struggle, this be a reminder for you to just take a break because you need it, because you're human. And I don't know how that would look like for you because you have different realities, different situations. I don't know how. Um, I don't know how. But I pray that God's grace will meet you right where you are. Kung ano yung situation mo, how rest is possible for you. I pray that God's grace will just overflow in that situation and make it happen for your circumstance, for your unique circumstance. And for me, for the past days, recovering from somehow a shutdown, a mental, physical shutdown of just resting and not doing anything, which was a long recovery time. I'm learning how to just stop and just doing things because it nurtures me. For example, I love reading, kaya nga shinare ko yung mga books na binabasa ko now, lately. So I have this, I don't know, an internal rule na I will read out of, again, productivity. If I want to learn a skill, I'll read about it. I'll read because I'm learning something. I'm consciously learning a skill. So, kailangan ko magbasa. So, even though, of course, reading is enjoyable for me, but meron na akong agad, like, parang objective. Binabasa ko to kasi meron akong skill na gustong attain while reading this. So it's just, a tiny mindset shift na I'll just read because it nurtures me. It's good for me. It's my rest in the middle of the day. So instead of just that drivenness ba na drivenness driven drivenness driven drivenness driven may ganun akong drivenness na driven by drivenness. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just pick up a book just because it nurtures me. It just because it's restful for me, not because I'm learning a new skill or whatever it is, but just because it gives me a breather. So I've been enjoying doing that for the past days, and you know what? Reading now becomes more enjoyable because it's something that I'm just doing for the sake of it. So yeah, that's something that I'm learning, and also yeah, even as we're talking now, my children are already asleep, my husband's asleep, but I still have laundry waiting for me. But I'm filming this because I feel like it nurtures me also, just because this is a creative outlet for me at the same time. I like to connect with you, fellow moms. I'm really happy when someone messages me um, following a post, and it's just a point of connection. Ba? Motherhood can be so lonely. Literally, I'm the only one awake now. Who else could talk to me, right? I'm awake when everybody's asleep, but I just feel so blessed that even these things could be a point of connection for us moms to talk about, God's faithfulness even in our demanding realities as mothers. So what was my point? So yeah, I'm doing this just for the sake of how nurturing it is for me. Yeah. And I have laundry waiting for me, which I'll do probably later or tomorrow. It depends. It depends. So you know what? There's actually, I realized, reflecting on what I've just said. I know I've said a lot, but reflecting on this, parang messianic syndrome, na as if everything depends on you. That's why you have to keep working, working, working. There's a bigger theological thing there going on, and that's what I've been learning. Um, when it comes to rhythms of rest, na you'll fully understand the blessing and the importance of rest if you have understood what it means to abide in grace, that everything is not dependent on me. Someone is in control. Is you know someone is a higher authority over my life, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ. And understanding that, his finished work on the cross, understanding that I could rest in that. And because I could rest on his finished work at the cross, for my very soul, for my very life, for my very salvation, then that changes everything, diba? That affects everything, transforms everything in our lives. Kahit yung mga ordinaryong araw-araw nating buhay, it's being transformed by that grace. That's why we can, as we rest on his finished work, nadadala natin yun sa mga practical na aspeto ng buhay. And that being said, rest. I really believe, that the gospel really touches every point of life. The gospel touches every aspect of life. Kaya the gospel really changes the way we mother. That's why we can mother by faith. We could even, rest in faith kahit feeling natin, dapat tapusin ko na to, ganyan. Kahit ano pa man yan. But if we rest in the gospel, that's just, I don't know how to really explain this, but when you know. The gospel just changes everything. This is your reminder, Mama, to rest in the finished work of Christ. And as you do so, you can practice rhythms of rest and grace in your daily life as a mother, in your ordinary, mundane life as you mother by faith. Yes, I'm firstly teaching this to myself. I'm learning this firstly myself because um, I've got a lot of unlearning, being driven by productivity. Busy doesn't always mean productive, and productive doesn't always mean successful. I've I'm learning that now that my life has become simplified more than ever. It's not easy, but it's simple. Ngayon mas may focus na, kumbaga. And now I'm learning how to weigh every single thing, to ultra prioritize where I allocate my time and energy, because our life is finite, our time here is limited. Sabi nga ni Elizabeth Elliot, di ba, na somewhere along the lines of, if you do not have the time to do the will of God, then you must be very busy, something like that. Na you only have you only have enough time here on earth to do God's will for your life. And if you're so distracted of chasing after every single thing and miss the will of God, then sayang, you can never gain that time back. So I'm so thankful for how God is disciplining me in this area, teaching me a lot about His grace. And yeah, as we seek Him, then we can seek to do His will. And not many of us are called to the masses. Not many of us are called, to do big, great, grand things for His kingdom. But every one of us has an ordinary life to live as unto Him. And no matter how ordinary it is, when done unto the Lord, it can be worship. And that's why I keep repeating that in my posts, right? That when our mothering and homemaking are done unto the Lord, it can be our worship. That's what I tell myself every single day. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing much for the kingdom because, well, I only face laundry these days. I only face little babies, keeping them alive, happy and healthy. And if it could feel like, oh, what am I doing? Am I doing enough? Parang meron ba talaga akong ministry? Meron ba talaga akong ginagawa? It could feel like that, and I think that's a lie from the enemy. As mothers, we are called by God to this beautiful, holy work of motherhood, of planting eternal seeds in our children's souls. But you know what? We can only do this calling by His grace. Yes. So, yeah, let's end it there para magpahinga na tayo at matulog na tayo. Good night, and hopefully my next one pa. And if you're interested, to tackle a specific topic, you could just PM me or comment down below. Let's see if the grace of God allows us to do that. And yeah, let's just keep the conversation going, to give practical and biblical encouragement to each other, to do this beautiful and holy calling, encouraged, filled with hope and joy.